talk a little bit today about Chinese brush painting. Now this is the kind of brush you use when you do some Chinese brush painting, but you might not have that. I have another one too. And they kind of look ratty when you, they're not wet. They all frayed apart, huh? But when you put them in water, they take this point that's amazing. This is called a bamboo brush. It's made with bamboo. And I don't know, but they're magic. I love these brushes. But you might not have one. That's okay. If you can get to an art store, they have them and they're not very expensive. So get a couple different sizes. You can also use one of these plain old brushes. It's absolutely fine. Anything that makes a nice point when it's wet will be fine. Okay? So, why learn this? Not because we're going to be masters of Chinese brush painting, but because it makes you a better painter and because people like writing Chinese characters. Now, calligraphy is a Greek word and it means beautiful writing. I want to show you what I'm using here, just those paints. And I'm only using black. This is the only time I let students use black when we're doing this. It just muddies up your colors, but we're not doing anything except for black here. So I just wanted to show you, you don't really need anything all that fancy to do this. You are learning how to move your brush and you're learning about the integrity of a brush stroke. So your first mark, your first line is just a horizontal line. So watch carefully. Now, first of all, look how I'm holding my brush. I pinch it between my two fingers and then I put my middle finger on the same side as my index finger, and then my ring finger on the same side as my thumb. And hold it way up here. And you'll see me move around a little bit. But you're kind of moving your wrist. You're working from your wrist, and I can also not move my wrist and just move my fingers like this. So, or you can use your whole shoulder or your elbow, but most of the action is right in here with Chinese brush painting. So we're going to start with a horizontal line. So and it's not just a line like this. I'm going to start, and I'm going to make it a little bigger for you. I'm going to push, release a little bit, and push. Push, release a little bit, and push. Push, release, push. Push, release, push. So I get faster and a little better. And please don't think that this happened right away. I have about 5 pages of those. So even I've done this before, and it just is a good warm up and it's very relaxing. So horizontal strokes. The vertical stroke is much the same. Notice the pressure is important. It's a little thicker here by pressing harder, and you lift up a little bit in the middle and then you press hard again. Okay, so let's do some vertical strokes, standing up lines. Same thing, press a little harder, come down, press a little harder. I love it when it gets scratchy like that. Some people don't like that, but I like it. Again, it's a human touch. Okay, I'm having some trouble with this one. See, these are not working. My first one was probably my best one. There we go. Now I'm getting it. See, I wasn't moving my fingers. I was moving my whole arm. So let me try one more. See, moving my fingers. See how I'm moving my moving my fingers here like this to make that stroke. Down, press up. So what can you do with these? I'm going to teach you something cool here. So originally the Chinese calligraphy has evolved over time. So originally it was very pictograph-like, meaning if it was a mountain, they drew kind of a series of triangles and that looked like mountains. But that changes. So coming back to these horizontal and vertical lines, I'm going to show you how to make a mountain. Okay, so the order that you do Chinese calligraphy in is important, and the way you make your stroke is important. So my first stroke is the center peak, and it's much taller than the other one. My second stroke is a short little guy, and my third stroke is a short little guy. And mountain. So this doesn't much look like a mountain, but if you think about it, these are 3 peaks of a mountain. Or if you connected an imaginary line, it's 1 peak. So I did say that the order that you did these is important and the way you make your stroke is important, but also the proportion is important. This is a little too long of a line. So remember I told you I had to practice a lot? I have to practice a lot. So let's try it again. There. This is next, and this is next. Now let's not make that quite so long. There. Now that's a much better mountain. It doesn't have to stick out so far. So there's my mountain. Let me show you another word that is kind of cool. The order. Am I still on the page? Yes. So my order is this one first, then the top one, then this middle guy looks like an F, right? And then another middle guy coming through there and there. That is a field. So if you think about it, it's from the air, you're looking down, and these are the footpaths going through the field, right? So again, it's kind of a picture of it. This is another word, and I'm showing you all these words that actually use just the horizontal and vertical stroke. So I'm going to come down, over, down. This one doesn't touch it. This one does touch it. There. And now a big one. There. That got a little messy down there. This means middle, in the middle, or among. You're among something. So, if I put two words together, what do you think this means? I'm going to make trying to remember my order and proportion. This next word or image can't be too much bigger. I think this was next. Those two together, right there, mean among mountains. I live in the mountains, or I am among mountains, or mountains are surrounding me. How about this one? Right here, these two together. I tricked you. That right there is a word or a phrase. I'm in the middle of a field. Cool, huh? So there's a couple words. You want me to write it for you? Mountain. So you remember forever. You can look this up too. This one's middle or among. Hope this is big enough for you. Middle or among. And this is among mountains. Now, we learn penmanship so people can read it, right? The Chinese learn penmanship because it's a form of art. I'm telling you that because this is not very artful, is it? But this, a wonderful person that really knew how to do this, you see these in art museums, whole scrolls of Chinese writing in a museum. In the middle of the field. That's what that means. The dot is pretty much a mark on your paper. So watch this. This is really cool. I just start up here at the top and press down. Start at the top, the tip, and I'm not really even making much motion. You'll find when you start practicing some of the letters that you will make motion. That's a little wobbly one, but there's my dot. Your little baby dots. Practice some different sizes. Oh, that's a little cute one. Practice some big ones because you'll need to do some big ones too. Okay, so let's use those vertical and horizontal lines to actually write a word. We're going to write two words. So I'm going to start with notice I'm holding my brush correctly, kind of. Is that right? Yep, I am. So I'm going to start with my horizontal line, like that. And then down here I'm going to do vertical. I love the scratchies. I already said that, didn't I? And now I'm going to do one of those dots, but he's going to point up. So I'm going to start with my tip, and it's going to be right here, there. This right here means above. Above, or go up to, or up. Okay, so this is above that line. Let's try another one. Opposite, below. So I'm going to start here. That. Not touching. For some reason, this one doesn't touch. Now I'm going to make one of those teardrop things coming down. Da, 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 da. This means below, fall down. Okay, so my teardrop, my dot is below my horizontal line, kind of like the earth, right? Or the anchor, the horizon line. Here it's above the horizon line. You could see it like that. So kind of has a picture. So we're going to practice the dots and some vertical and horizontal lines to make a new word. Nice long horizontal. Vertical, I mean, there's a horizontal. That one's not touching it. So where's the dots? Right there. There's my dots. So this means rain. Watch this. If I add a word over here, now it says it's raining. This is falling down, right? Remember, this is down and this is rain, so it's raining. Cool, huh? All right. So I'm going to put some words together here, some symbols together, and let's see if you can figure out what it means. So we did rain, we did mountain, we did field, and we did it's raining. So we did a lot of them. So let's see if you can figure this out. What's that word? What's that mean? I have mountains, right? We have middle, we have down, and we have rain. Remember, this was among the mountains. This is it's raining. So it's raining in the mountains. You made your first word or sentence. You made a sentence. Congratulations. Nice work. So next we're going to move on to some more practice strokes. So we've only done 3 and we already made a sentence. You're brilliant. So the next ones we're going to do are really important ones when you do a painting that I'm going to show you. So eventually all of these strokes that we're practicing here, we use when we do Chinese brush painting. A bamboo or a bird or a flower or a dragonfly. So these are all strokes that you use. That's where you start. Next one is a left slant. So again, pressure is important. So the left slant should be a little fatter at the top, and I'm going to go down to the left. Left slant. So as I come down to the end, I pick up my brush, and that makes a smaller or a more narrow mark. So I'm pressing and coming down. At first, you're going to go very slowly. Get a little more water on there so it doesn't get all crinkly. And a little more of a curve on these two. My first one's always my best one because it's like intuitive or something. So I'm going to press and slant. Now we're going to look at some variations of this, a short one and a long one. So the right slant, you would think you just go another direction. Well, you don't. You do, but the fat part's at the bottom. So my right slant is starting up at the top with the tip. So I start up here. You don't start at the bottom, you start at the top and press. Now that's a little wavy, but This one's hard for me. It looks like a tadpole. There. So I think my movement away, I was coming straight down and stopping. My movement away from the end here needs to be this way, moving off to the left. So let's try it again. Oh, I did it. See, I'm moving off to the left. That kind of gives my mark coming out a little bit. So these two last ones are pretty good. So we have the left slant and the right slant. So if I put those two together, my left slant, my right slant. Man, man, oh man, that means man. Man. So if I do man twice, do it over here. Thinking, thinking, thinking. Pretty soon if you practice this, you won't have to think too much. It'll just kind of become a habit. Just like when you learn to write the A, you had to work really hard at writing that A in the circle, making sure your vertical line touched the circle just right, or your kindergarten teacher would get all mad. You don't have to think about it anymore. So pretty soon as you practice, that's how this is going to be. Man, this means everyone. Everyone. It's just man twice. Okay. New brush stroke. So practice these. Go through. You got to stop this video and do some practicing, or you're not going to get good at it. You have to practice these. Again, I showed you all of my practice papers, this whole stack, practice papers, there's more under there. So you have to practice this one, front and back, everywhere. I practiced like crazy before I started this. So you have to practice, okay? I messed that up. So let's go to another stroke, and I think we have room on this paper. I'm using up my whole sketchbook for this lesson. This is called the hook, and it's basically a vertical line with the little hooky at the end. So it's my vertical coming down, and then I come up like that. That's not good because it's all the same width. I want some variation, so I want fat, thin, hook. Hook. Try it again. See, as soon as I stop talking and concentrate and hold my brush right and use my fingers right, I do better. Now that was not fat at the end. Notice I don't go back and fix it. You're really not supposed to do that. You honor what you did. Whether it's good or bad, you honor it. There, I did it. It takes a while. When I do this with students, I have them do a whole page of just one stroke until they get it, and until they can get it without thinking too much. So that's called the hook. Okay, right slant, left slant, down slant. And one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Over here, I'm going to do, basically it's the same thing. This is kind of a combination of my slants and my hooks. But it's a small guy. So it's a little guy. Press, come this way a little bit, and swish. So it's almost a dot, but almost a slant. Let me get my brush a little better. Okay, now I'm getting it. Okay, and I'm using my wrist to flick it. That does it. So there's your down slant. And then we're going to do some up slants. Same thing. Up. They should kind of be like little rose thorns. And these are not rose thorns. So it should be a little more symmetrical. It does work better. I keep doing this with my brush so you can see, but it does work better if your brush is vertical. See? There's my thorn. Right in there. Okay, so, and I'm doing it so you can see, but it's very uncomfortable and it's very different for us to write like this instead of like this. And notice my hand is not resting on anything. My hand's up in the air. So it's very different for you, but to really get these down correctly, you need to do what I do. Okay, so we have done 6 characters. Those are the 6 characters that you need to write all kinds of words. Now, I'm not going to show you any more words because you can easily look that up. But using these strokes and practicing these strokes are really going to help you with things like love and eternity and long lasting and everlasting and all those other words that you can make. Think about proportion, think about what order your strokes go in and what direction you make them in. So next we are going to skip, because you can look up how to make words very easily. I showed you a few, but I'm going to show you how to do and actually take all these strokes now and, as promised, do a painting. So using all of those strokes, we're going to do a painting, a bamboo painting. So this is the vertical stroke, but I'm going to kind of not go straight up and down because nothing really grows like that in my world. It goes angled and the wind blows it and all those things. But you are using that vertical stroke and horizontal stroke, really. It's the same thing, but it's the direction. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to make mine big. So I'm going to really load my brush up. Make them touch each other. Angle them over. Let's do another one going another direction, maybe overlapping. Now I'm going to add a little water to my paint and lighten it a little bit. It's further away. Let's do a couple of those. Let's even go further. More water. Way far away. Further is smaller and less detailed. More water. I think we need one more big one right up the middle. What do you think? Here? You have to decide. Big fat guy. Okay. So now I've got some bamboo pieces, but you could take and do a little bit of where they're jointed, a little bit of your strokes there. See? Kind of connects them a little bit. I could add some water and do that to the far away ones too. Just a little curve line. Every brush stroke means something. Remember, I've said that a couple times, so I'm not fussing. This was 3 brush strokes, and I've created a bamboo. I'm not outlining and filling it in and all of those things. So now bamboos have leaves. Bamboo plants have leaves. So I'm going to go big with this. Pressing. Overlap. Sometimes they have little guys that come off. Little baby bamboos. Made a mistake, but I don't worry about it. Okay, a little water for these. These way back guys want some leaves too, right? They're gonna be lighter. So, I have used all of the strokes that we've practiced here, and the dots and the slants and the horizontal and vertical lines, and made a painting. So this is what I love about learning this style. And again, I am not an expert, but I like the style and the idea that every brush stroke is important and every brush stroke is a piece of art. And this leaf is one brush stroke. I'm not fussing with it, I'm painting. So that's the beauty of this. So you can look up some words and play around with some words, practice your strokes first, just like we've done. Stop and start the video. Great present for mom right here. She would love this because this is so easy to do if you get those strokes down. So have fun, go forth, create, make some art, enjoy, and learn something new today.